wish I looked prettier. I was crying earlier because I got a amazing card from a fourth grade teacher I haven't heard in forever that was like congratulating me on things, and I just lost it. So I'm all puffy. I'm like, I can see now.
Well, you look lovely.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Your
Thank
braids
you.
are on point. You look...
I'm still hiker trash, so I gotta embrace it. It's tears and all.
We are audio only anyway, but...
Well, that was a wonderful intro, Kate. Welcome to the Rocks and Roots podcast. And Kate, as you heard, was just crying for a good reason. What a lovely card that sounds like.
Was that your fourth grade teacher that sent you that?
Yeah, so I know a lot of my fans know this, but I was severely dyslexic, like on a whole nother level, and it wasn't really totally recognized yet at that point in time because I'm older than people think. And so by the time I was in third grade, I was pretending to read. I couldn't read. I was so severely dyslexic. And I finally went to my parents for help. They threw me in a private school, and this teacher that sent me this card today out of the blue helped me for 3 years get so far on track that I actually ended up being able to skip 2 grades, which I didn't take advantage of but she was just amazing. She was such a huge staple in my life, and to get that card from her today just made me lose it.
That is amazing.
What a great story.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, from your dyslexia, is that how your art started?
I think a big part of it, yeah. I mean, I started out such an odd little nut, honestly. Like, I was supposed to be left-handed. My mom wanted me to be right-handed, so she'd made me sit on my left hand while I'd learned to write. Now when I paint, I'm ambidextrous, and I'll switch, and I realize it. So I've got all kinds of things going on. Just a little hodgepodge of interesting, I suppose, when it came to all that. But it really, yeah, I had a hard time at times, just in the process of learning, because all these things I had to factor in. But I turned out all right. And I can read great now.
Well, we're so glad to have you on the podcast. This was like a very Joe Rogan opening, in my opinion.
It is.
He starts off like mid-sentence with his guest. So great to have you on the show. And, we were hunted for people to talk to. And I'm like, there's Kate. I just saw your recent Instagram post about you opening your first hostel. Well,
yeah, right?
So many congratulations on that. But before we get into the modern stuff, let's go back a little bit. So how did you get into hiking?
Well, basically, I went kind of female Forrest Gump because I was a single mom, and I expected to have about 2 more years with my daughter in the house. And what ended up happening is we found out that her dad's GI Bill could be transferred to her if she graduated in the state that he was stationed in, which at the time was California, and I was in Washington. So we were in Washington. So like when she was 17, she just up and moved to her dad's. And I had been like the single parent for up until that point, and I didn't really have time to process that. So I had this bucket list. I grew up in North Bend, which is right next to Snoqualmie Pass, and I bartended the pass. I was very aware of like the long trails, and I always said someday, it was like a bucket list thing. And once my daughter actually was down with her dad, I just didn't know what to do with myself. So I was like, went female Forrest Gump. I'm like, I better go walking. And I was like, might as well hit some stuff off my bucket list. And so I planned the AT hike and took off on that in 2018.
How long did that take you?
5.5 months. And I really buzzed through it because I really wasn't capable of I didn't know what I was capable of. I wish I would have taken a little bit more time, but one of the best adventures of my life, hands down, and just incredible day after incredible day. It was so cool.
Now,
totally you had a good year for it, too.
It was a rainy year.
It was the rainiest year in history, yeah.
Yes.
Up until that point. I don't know. It's probably been beat by now. The weather's been going so weird, but...
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, but there were a lot of great people on trail that year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I met Ivy Tat that year. I met so many people. Just incredible people. I even lost an incredible person. I don't know if you guys knew about Colors, the guy who got crushed by the deadfall in 2019. I guess that was a PCT. I'm sorry, I'm confusing them. That's the problem when you...
That's okay, we'll get there.
They mush together.
Yes, I'm sure they do. But before the AT, did you hike at all growing up?
With that teacher that sent me the card.
Aww.
So my parents, nobody took me hiking or did any of that. She was the one that took me camping. She took all our class, so it wasn't weird, like one-on-one thing. We did an annual class reunion where she'd just take us all hiking and camping. And a lot of our field trips were to go up in the Snoqualmie, the Cascades, and hunt for crystals, or she's very outdoorsy, so she got us all into outdoors. I really owe a lot of it to her, which I think was a big part of why I went to Mush when I got that letter today.
What a great
Sounds
teacher.
like an amazing person.
No, really. Holy smokes. Yeah. Well, great. So you did that in 2018. And I mean, what was your favorite and then least favorite part of the AT?
I would say Franconia Ridge was definitely my favorite, like section, but I didn't really have an unfavorite part. I think I was just the whole time in awe that I was actually doing what I was doing, and being an artist and seeing all these beautiful places untouched by man, and the sunsets, and it was just surreal the whole time. Even the rainy days, people would be like, I would play that song, that 80s song, Pump Up the Jam, and I'd be like puddle jumping, and nothing got me down on that trail. I just really was just so like, this is happening, and I just never had that doom and gloom on that trail at all. I had a few scary moments. I mean, there were definitely those moments of panic and tiredness and stuff like that. But overall, like, there was nothing. I look back, like, a lot of people complain about PA being really rocky or this and that. I loved it. I was out there playing hot lava. I'm like reverting it back to when I was like 6. I was like, this is amazing. I was just, it was a great adventure for me. And I can't say that there's anything I really, in the rain, even being from Washington, it was like no big deal. I mean, we wash our car when it's raining. It's like, if we want to hike, we hike when it's raining, so that wasn't a really big Achilles heel for me in any way. It was awesome.
I mean, we've had, our fair share of people we've spoken to who've loved the AT, but there was at least something that they didn't like about it. You are the first one who was just thrilled to be there the entire time, and we're here for it.
Yeah, I really was. I mean, I had a couple scares, like I said. Like, I was in the Whites one time, and I think I was pretty close to hypothermia from river crossings. And my metabolism was so high, and it was rock scrambles. I can't remember which mountain it was, but it's on my YouTube videos. And I just couldn't get my body temperature up because I couldn't get moving fast enough because it was scrambles. And then my sleeping bag was wet when I got to the shelter to try to warm up. So, like the typical oh no stories that happen. But I made it through, and so that was a little scary. But other than that, like, that was still such a beautiful section too. I was like, and then as soon as I got warmed up and got going again, I had another river crossing. So it was like, you have to laugh at it when you look back. I don't know. It was fine. It worked out. I survived.
You did.
And I'm very glad that you also play Lava on the Rocks, because whenever we go through a rough section, I'm always saying the trail is lava. I'm glad there's someone else out there that's goofy and does that as well.
Oh yeah, no, there was just no end to how much fun I had out there, and anybody that hiked around me would vouch for that. That they were like, you are always in a good mood. I had people who were so grumpy and tired, and at different days, to be like, why are you always smiling? And it just, the PCT wasn't quite the same story because it wasn't the brand new experience, and a totally different world to me. I hadn't really been on the East Coast much, so it was just, I was in awe of everything. So it's pretty incredible.
Is the AT where you got your trail name?
I got my trail name on the AT, yes.
And
So what is that story?
Yeah, how'd you get feathers?
Okay, so it's kind of, it's not the coolest story, but I guess it's kind of fun. I almost got given a trail name I really didn't want, so I snagged up feathers really quick in a series of events. Basically, I was hiking with this one male hiker, and he was asking me some question, and he was behind me, and he just started cracking up laughing because after he asked me a certain question, I had air quoted with both my hands, and he said all you could see was from this backpack, 2 little arms with trek poles hanging from them come out and air quote. And so he kept wanting to call me air quotes. Well, we finally get to camp that night, and there's this older couple I'd kind of hopscotched with throughout the day, and they kept thinking I lost something or was looking for something, and I was picking up feathers. And they're like, what, did you lose something? What are you trying to find? I'm like, no, I collect feathers I like making medicine wheels and aka dream catchers and stuff. And so I had them sticking in my backpack, my hair, just wherever I could stuff them so I could keep moving. And then we got to camp and we were all around the fire, and it was that guy, that couple, and like a whole plethora of other people. And because it was really early on, and they were all like, "You need your trail name, this, that, and this," and he was really pushing the air quotes, and I was, and the old lady was like, "I think she should be Feathers," and they were like, "No," and then I shook out my coat or something, I can't remember, like 3 feathers went flying through it, and they're like, "Oh no, it's Feathers."
It's Feathers.
So yeah, just kind of serendipitous, I guess, but not like really cool stories like some of the other hikers.
No, that's fine.
And you are one of the few people where your trail name goes very nicely with your actual name. Like Kate Cloudfeathers is awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I guess the universe on that one. I don't know. Ironically,
So tell us,
nobody knew that whole time I have a tattoo that says she's a floating feather in love with the wind.
So
And
that was
covered
before.
all the time.
That was before.
Yeah, I had that before. It was all covered though because it was cold. I started at the end of March, and so nobody knew I had any of those that tattoo or anything. So yeah, it fit really well.
awesome. So tell us a little bit about the PCT, just the basics, like how long did it take? Same thing, your favorite part, and you said this did not go as well, so there has to be at least a favorite.
No, this trail was a little different. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was a different beast for sure. I took 7 months, a little over 7 months to do this trail, which normally you could do the PCT faster than the AT. But since I had done the AT, I knew what I was capable of, so I milked that bad boy. I did not want it to end. So I drug it on, and I may have drug it on a little too long. I think one of the things that I didn't like about the PCT was that on the AT, you get that gratification of, oh, I'm in a new state. Oh, I'm in a new state. Where it's like California was never freaking ending. And I was getting so burnt out because I just wanted that benchmark, I guess. I don't know. I got used to that from the AT. So it was like, I felt like, man, I've walked across 8 states now. And I'm still like, over 4 months in, and I'm still in the same state. And I'm just like, is this ever going to end?
Right.
Am I ever going to make it to Oregon?
I think a lot of people are like that. They are just totally burnt out by the time they reach Oregon.
Oh my gosh. It was like, yeah, everybody that I was around was pretty like, we need just that benchmark. We just need that goal hit of like, I'm in a new state. So yeah, walking across California the long way is long and exhausting. But I same thing with that trail though. I really was in awe of all the things, and going through Whitney during what was until this year the highest snow season. I have a feeling when I go to the Continental Divide, it's going to be like the biggest drought. Why not? I'm hitting off here.
In all the weather patterns.
Yeah, but I think the Sierras were definitely, even though they were really sketchy, they were my favorite part because I'd never done any mountaineering. And it just felt like I was in another world, the way the snow was, and you're so far from anything and everything. There's no light pollution, and it's postcard picture perfect scapes. I mean, that just are mind-blowing. And the way the ice in the river and the blues off the snow, and it was just... the snow cups made it look so bizarre sometimes. It was just so, I don't know. It's natural, but unnatural for what we're used to. You know what I mean? And that was really cool. And then I did Whitney during all that, and Whitney was insane with all that snow. We couldn't see switchbacks. It was like a vertical climb the whole way. We're like, how are we getting down? It was just nuts. But the adrenaline and those highs and those lows through the Sierras really made it just incredible.
And when did you do the PCT?
I did the AT in 2018, right. And then I got home and I went Forrest Gump again. So I was like, oh, she's still gone, which of course, so I was like, what should I do now? And I was like, I guess I should just go do another one. So at that point I'm thinking, well, why don't I just go for my Triple Crown, So 2018, I did the AT. 2019, I went off and did the PCT. And then my plan was to do 2020, the Continental. So I was just going to do my Triple Crown in a 3-year, run it off stretch, but COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the PCT was 2019. A lot of snow that year. What would you say was your favorite spot?
Oh, my favorite spot. It was the Sierras, like Whitney.
Yeah.
Was pretty incredible because I had never done any 14ers before that. And I slept above 10,000 feet at San Jacinto. That was pretty incredible because that was the first time I'd been above 10,000 feet, and I got to sleep up there. and I have a grandpa who was very famous for being a healer, and he always would say that the way he would restore his energy was to go camp above 10,000 feet, and that's all I could think about when I was up there, is that, like, I'm restoring my energy, I'm above 10,000 feet, and I'm camping up here. So, and it was really cool. We had this, like, cool old rock hut up there that we all camped in. It was a beautiful sunset. You could see the shadow of the mountain over, like, all of, was it Palm Springs, Cabazon down below, and it was like Stargate. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was pretty. There's just so many points like that, though. That's kind of like how these trails are, though. You get almost overwhelmed with the epic spots and views that it's hard to pick, you know?
We totally get it, because, you know, us being on the East Coast, the highest mountain is 6,200 feet. So us going out west is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Just being in Yosemite, you're how many thousands of feet up in the valley? You're not even realizing it. Yeah, we did Yosemite Falls while we were there on the 4th of July. I wanted to do a half dome, but it was like a herd of people in the line going up. I was like, no, I'll wait.
We did 97% of half dome, maybe 99%. Because I have really bad acrophobia, and I got about halfway up the cables, and I was like, I can't. And then tumbles was just.
I think I was depleted of nutrients at that point.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
you were concerned about pushing yourself and not being able to make it back down, not being able to hold on to the cables.
Gotta be smart, you know. No trail's worth your life. We always say that, and then we always push it.
Yes.
We mean it, but then we're like, but I'm so close. So that's good. I think I always try to encourage that, because a lot of people, you know, sometimes don't know when to quit. So at least you got that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just being up there on the cables, like, we still got some amazing pictures, and just being on the cables was an experience. So
I haven't even done it yet. So you guys are a step ahead of me, or maybe 800. I don't know how many it takes to get to the top.
So I don't know if we're rewinding or if we're going in the sequence of events of your life here, but let's talk about Little Leaf. When does Little Leaf come into the picture?
That's perfect timing. Yeah, no. So when I say I was going to do my Triple Crown 3 years in a row, 2020 is when Little Leaf hit the scene. Basically, I was going to go do my Triple Crown, go do the CDT, and COVID came around, and I had basically got rid of everything to do 3 years of hiking at that point. I just figured once I done the PCT, I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to stop now. So I had gotten rid of everything, and it didn't have really a place to stay in place. So I kind of scrambled when that order came out, not knowing what to expect from the pandemic, and moved in with a friend and it was a goat farmer. And Little Leaf had been born, and I had nicknamed her, not knowing that would, you know, turn into anything. I had no intention of having a goat. And then a few days later, the owner came and knocked on my door and was like, hey, do you want to say goodbye? I think this is the one you nicknamed. She's dying. And I was like, what? And I'm like, well, can I try to save her? I mean, we're locked in this place doing nothing during COVID, you know? And he's like, if you want to, but then you're going to have a goat. And I'm like, well, screw it. You know, I really didn't know anything about goats. I had to buy that book, Goats for Dummies. I realized real fast I didn't know what I was doing. but I read that front to back. Now I'm a little goat whisperer. But yeah, so that's how she came along. And I didn't realize when I rescued her that herd animals like herself, their separation anxiety is so bad so that if I were to leave her for just 2 days, she'd die. They get hypothermic from the stress.
Wow.
So, yeah, she's literally not left my side and become my little wingman ever since. And when COVID never ended, that's when I got the camper and started traveling the U.S. in the camper with her.
Right.
So, yeah, just spiral effect.
What was she dying of? Like early
Pardon?
on? What was she dying on early of?
Probably mostly malnutrition is what started everything. But when I got her, she was hyperglycemic, anemic. She had half her heart rate. She had stopped using her legs. So when I rushed her to the equine vet, which was the closest one, they're like, we've never seen one come back this far gone. There's no way she's going to make it. Less than 10% chance. And I argued with them. I was like, no, maybe she'll be your miracle story. And they're like, well, we don't have the staff to take care of her. She needs shots every 3 hours, bottle fed every hour. And I was like, well, how about you teach me how to do the shots, and I'll bottle feed her and all that. And if she makes it a week, I'll come back for another round. And we did that, and further and further, she got better and better. And then they featured her on their website, even though they didn't do anything. But she became that miracle story. So yeah, She got nursed back to health.
Oh.
So what caused all that? Was that just because sometimes herd animals, sometimes the mother will reject the kid if they sense something or if they don't think that the kid will survive. And I'm using the term kid because it's a goat.
Yeah, it is a goat. That's what they call them, kids.
Yes. So, like, do you know, like, what caused the initial malnutrition? Did mom reject her? Or, like, what was up?
Well, she was the runt, and throughout history, goats were the first domesticated animal, and we have really dumbed them down. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions about goats. One being that when they have litters, it's not called a litter, but when they have their kids, they usually only have two. They only have two udders, but because through over domestication and overbreeding, they're starting to have bigger, amounts of goats at a time. So generally in nature, they only have one to two. And with all these meat goats we've bred and dairy goats, they're having like up to four, and they can't feed that many, so they'll reject the weakest, smallest ones. It's just kind of like there's a big misconception that goats can eat anything. That's actually a huge lie. They've been over domesticated to where they just don't know what they can and can't eat anymore, so they try. So you have to watch them like little kids, because if they get a bite of rhododendron and they find out it's sweet, they'll just try to eat it and they'll kill themselves on accident, because they don't know. So we've kind of dumbed them down in the sense of what their instincts are and overbred them as far as how they develop, so she was just one of those cases where the litter was too big for the mama, so she got rid of the smallest.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I was reading an article, and it said that you did mouth to mouth. At one point, she was done, and how do you do mouth to mouth on a goat?
I didn't even know it was a thing, to be totally honest. I was so tired for getting up every hour. I mean, I was a mom. I'm a mom, and I had to feed my daughter every few hours, but every hour is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
So I was so tired. I woke up one night to feed her to the alarm, and she started she was asphyxiated and just stopped breathing. And I was so invested in her emotionally and everything at this point that I was like, I don't know. The first thing came to mind was to try to do like some kind of CPR, and she's only 3 pounds, so I just covered her little snout and was rubbing her chest where her heart was and doing little compressions and then I thought she'd started breathing. I wasn't really sure, but I was just so literally exhausted. I'm pretty sure I passed out at that point, and I was like, well, if she's here in the morning, she's here. And there she was in the morning, and I rushed her to the vet again just to see if there was anything that was caused by any of that. And he's like, oh, mouth to snout. And I'm like, oh, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
I had no idea. Again, I just kind of,
winged it.
Instinct.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I can't let you go. I can't let this happen. I'm going to try something. So I guess, mouth to snout is a thing. And you can do it on dogs and all kinds of animals. And I had no idea.
Fascinating.
And then that same article said that she was supposed to be featured in a video game. Like, did that happen? And what's that about?
Yeah, we both were actually. They used our likeness, and we were in a hiking video game called Rewardify. It was a phone app game, and if it was successful, they were going to run a couple more months of it. But I think we only went a couple months. It went up like July and August, and it was only like 6 levels, and I think it had some trivia on us. You could win up to like $2,500 if you got our trivia right from watching our channel and stuff. But that's pretty much all it was. They contacted me. It was... Rewardify is a pretty big name, phone app gambling thing, I think, kind of gambling. I consider it gambling. I don't know, maybe it's not. But it was fun. Yeah, we were turning into video game characters, and they cashed us out for, I think, like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't talk about that, but whatever. They paid us to do it, and it was just kind of fun. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It's cool to be able to say that.
Well, I mean, the goat is the star here, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, I usually, when I talk about it, I don't mention myself being included usually. I just say, yeah, my goat's been turned into a video game. Like, nobody cares about me anymore. It's cool.
So you were with your friend, the goat farmer. It sounds so awkward to say that, actually, so... Sorry.
Most of the things that come out of my mouth sound awkward.
The goat farmer. Was that in Washington?
That was in Washington.
Okay,
yes.
So then the pandemic, you just went on the road. And
yeah, when COVID never ended, I was like, this thing's never ending. I started to get like stupid stir crazy. I was just like, you were sharing a little room. It was bad. Like, I was like, I got to get out of here. And so I ended up finding my little gypsy wagon on Craigslist. A little Roma man made him for a living. He was 89. It was the second last to last one, and it was the only thing light enough my Jeep could tow. It's like dry weight, like 800 pounds. And I just paid off my Jeep, so I didn't want to get like a new setup. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I just needed to move, you know. Right. So I snagged that up and hit the road, and then we became a circus show on the road.
We have to say, you know, one of the most amusing videos that we watched during pandemic was you and I beat Tat just shooting the shit and having a ball in Georgia.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And I invited him out on my Cross America hike attempt thing that I did, which I'll finish at some point. But yeah, him and people, I think our fan bases are so opposite. And we come across very opposite because I'm very, you know, like family orientated kind of on my channel, and he's very not.
Yes.
And but I think being a bartender and just I get his humor, I get his person. That was the goat knocking things over. She's got to get a little attention in here. She's like, I'm still here. Anyway, but I think, yeah, because he took everything so serious, and I'm very, very like, woo, we'll figure it out, you know, or like, no, we don't need to film that. And his little walk-bys, teasing him about those, because he takes his photography and cinematography very, very serious, and he is amazing at it. Like, I'm not.
Yes.
And I think, I don't know, I had to poke fun at them just because he would get so frustrated so easy. He was an easy target.
Yes.
But yeah, so we had a lot of fun. He's a good guy.
Did you hike with him a bit on the PCT?
I did. Yeah, okay. I met him in the Appalachian, and he didn't remember me when I ran into him on the PCT. Very sweet. I remember.
Then we feel honored. I'm sorry to interrupt. Then we feel honored because we met him once when he was doing in 2018. He was in PA, and I had reached.
We were fangirling. Even YouTube. Frankie was fangirling. Because we were watching his videos religiously.
And I had reached out. I was like, hey, we live in Jersey. If you are in the PA, New Jersey, even New York area, and you need anything, like, hit us up. So I got this Instagram message one day, like, yo, I need shit tickets. I was like, what the fuck is that? So once I figured it out, like, we ran up and we gave him a package and we got our pictures. And then we met him again in Georgia, and he actually remembered us. So,
oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of a crucial, no, I get it. Most people have a better memory than I do anyway, so I've been hit in the head a few times. But, you know, he does have a good memory. He's impressive like that.
Yeah. So how many miles did you hike with him on the PCT?
Basically all of Oregon and Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got separated at the very end when he went on his gnarly little trek with Beats and all them. And I hiked with Beats actually a long time on the AT.
Oh, did
so you? It's really funny, like our whole little group, the hiking community, you guys probably already know this. It's pretty tight-knit. If you don't know the person, you know someone who knows the person and so on and so forth. But yeah, when we got to Stevens Pass, I thought I had NOLA or whatever it's called, and
Norovirus.
Norovirus. Sorry.
That's what we're going to call it from now on. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I was just really sick. And like I said, I'd done these trails back to back, and I had started to get malnutrition is what it ended up being. Mm-hmm. But I had all kinds of things going on with the body that seemed like maybe I drank some bad water.
Oh,
so anyway, I thought that's what it was. So he tried to wait for me, and I was like, dude, it's not going away. Like I tried like 2 days, and then I was like, I think I'm gonna have to take like a week. And it was snowing hard, like we were already in deep snow. And so he pushed on by himself, but he ended up meeting up with Beats and Snazzy and a few other people that we'd hiked on and off with the whole time. So luckily he didn't finish alone, but I did, and it was nuts and scary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got back. What I ended up doing is, since I got off at Stevens, I ended up flipping after that week because he had gotten back on trail. Now I was by myself. I went up to Canada I skipped up right past Tehican and got on at Cutthroat and hiked up to Canada. And I did that in like 3 days. I did 80 miles and I was still so sick. All I wanted to do the whole time was lay down. I think Rocks Pass was really super avalanchy and sketch, and I was there by myself. I mean, I was the whole way. It was just like, what am I doing? This is dumb. Like, kind of having that moment of like, is this worth it? Should I be doing this? And I flipped up, tagged the border, took a train back down, waited a whole nother week because I put myself back at that point, going back out.
Right.
So I had to wait it was about another week. Maybe it was like 8 or 9 days. I can't remember exactly now. But then I ended up pushing back up and getting back on at Stevens and getting off at Stehekin. So I think there was a little chunk there between Stehekin, like literally like a 10-mile stretch. But we did so much. We were lost so much through the Sierras and stuff. I wasn't counting it. I'm like, I did all the miles. Like, I don't care.
For sure. And
I barely survived that.
the snow was treacherous. I mean,
remembering. That last 80 miles, I tried to take, I don't even want to talk about it. It was like, I thought I was going to die. I was like, this is the dumbest thing. I don't know. I preach to everybody now. And I took some video and some photos, but I lost most of my video. And I don't know how I managed that. I don't know if it was because I was so remote that I never got to upload it in time or what happened, but I have a bunch of photos and stuff. Saw a lot more wildlife there than any other spot of the whole trail, of course. But and then I tried to go back and do it again with Little Leaf without the snow, and she wouldn't drink water, so we built again. So that's just been like a cursed little area for me. I do want to still go back and hit Section K is what it's known as. Hit it again in the summer, nice to just have a cruisy, cool, and enjoy it, because I feel like I kind of got gypped on that. And I did it to myself, of course, by trying to milk the trail and take 7 months to do the whole thing. But, it is what it is.
Wow. Good for you.
All right, I will definitely check out your YouTube channel because looking at how Tat finished that up, that was insane. But I can't imagine doing that by yourself. Like, he barely survived. So, like, doing it by yourself, you're amazing.
Well, thanks. I don't know if it was badass or stupid,
well,
to be totally honest.
We'll call it the former.
Oh my gosh. Like, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't right. Like, I learned, I got kind of cocky, I think, from mountaineering through the Sierras with my posse there, but, and I wasn't with IB Tats through that. I was with a different crew. And, we had some close calls, but I guess I got cocky. I don't know. I thought, let's just more snow. I don't know. It was next level, though. Anyway.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, we're glad you're here. And in one piece. And you lived to tell the tale. And you lived through the pandemic. And you started your hike across America with Little Leaf and special guest IB Tat. So how did that start and how did that go?
Well, I wanted something I could set my own pace. I got in touch with the people who kind of run the whole American Discovery Trail, that were trying to set it up, and I had a girlfriend that was on it, Brianna, supposed to be the first female solo hiker to do it by herself, and I just thought, well, here's something I could do, and I could kind of reroute it if I really needed to for Leaf. And there's all the bike trails along it. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I just needed another trail in my life, to be totally honest. And I was like, screw it. What's the longest? Like, I tried to milk the PCT. I was like, what's the longest trail I can do? Because I knew I couldn't take her on the CDT. She can't do those kind of miles in order to make the snow season.
Right.
And I want to go Sobo on the CDT. So I want that experience to be something without an animal. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be a certain thing. So anyway, I knew I wasn't going to take her to do that. I considered it a few times, but when it really came down to it, I was like, no, she can't be on that journey. So across America, the American Discovery Trail, I ended up taking a rental to Delaware and just dropped us off. And then we were going to walk back. And at the beginning of the American Discovery Trail, I realized real fast, I didn't like that trail at all. It was like through
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you tell us what that trail is?
The American Discovery Trail is a trail that goes east to west coast. It's a foot trail that's been put together. Actually, they try to advertise it as not just a foot trail, but a biking trail or a horseback trail. But it really, truly is I feel, in my opinion, is just a mess.
It's probably a bunch of different trails that are connected, and you probably have to like go on a road to get to the next. We've been on trails like that.
Sucks.
Yeah, I was spoiled. I guess I had a different thing in my mind, I guess I should say, like with the PCT and being remote, and you know, you're not walking through major cities like DC.
Yep.
Or areas where there's just mass amounts of dogs running at you and you have a goat, you know. So I just realized real fast, this is kind of dangerous, and this isn't where I don't want to be hiking with thousands of dollars of gear and my goat down through a major city, you know.
Yep.
I don't know. There was just things I realized real fast it wasn't appealing to me. So I decided I was just going to make my own way. Well, by the time I got to the Appalachian Trail area, Trail Days was about to happen. So I went south and hit Trail Days, and then I went north again, and then I was hitting all of my favorite places on the AT, like Franconia, I went to Grayson Highlands with Little Leaf, and that's where actually I ran into Ivy Tap, ironically, and was like, hey, you want to come? So he didn't plan originally to go with me on the American Discovery Trail. I ran into him camping in Grayson Highlands, both of us on our ways we both decided to hike into Trail Days and just relive some AT, and he was doing the same thing I was. And we ran into each other up there. So we hiked into Trail Days, and then we just never parted. He kept on with me because he was planning on going to Scotland soon after, and he was just going to hike with me till he took off to that. So that's basically what we did, but we got to... we were in Maryland, Frostburg. We'd finished the C&O, and we're about to get on the Great Allegheny Trail because I was doing bike trails at this point. We had brought Roscoe, and we figured, well, if we're bringing Roscoe, we got to do something super easy because little man's got short legs. And so we just hit the C&O, which is a bike trail. So it's like super easy. It's like walking down the road. You know, we figured, well, when he gets tired, we'll stop. You know, we're no agenda. I kind of knew I wasn't going to do the trail in the season or anything. I figured I'd have to stop during winter with Little Leaf if we just kept this on over a 3 or 5 year period. We'd have to hunker down during the, you know, certain seasons because she couldn't hike in deep snow. Anyway, long story short, we got to the end of the C&O, Great Allegheny Trail. Little Leaf got really sick. And the thing with herd animals, another thing with their herd animals, is that when they get sick, they hide it because the herd will shove them out. They get left behind.
Yes.
So she had got a bladder infection, which is very common for does, for the female goats. Same with deer, everything. But it had developed into, and I didn't know she had it, and it developed into a kidney infection, which then is very dangerous. And that's when I started to realize something was off with her. And then it's kind of just a race against time. So goats, that's usually the tendency with them when they get sick. It's like you don't realize it till they're almost too far gone. Right. So it was a mad scramble to save her life. I had like 7 different vets work on her, and they weren't really sure. It ended up being the 7th one who was a deer vet. He worked with wildlife that figured out exactly what was going on, and she needed a rare antibiotic too. She wasn't responding to normal goat antibiotics.
Of course.
She actually responded to an antibiotic that you give to horses, which they try to make illegal for goats because goats are considered food. So he could have lost his job for giving her this antibiotic, but it's the only one she responded to. And he was just happened to be cool enough, and I'm not going to name drop him.
No.
But just happened to be cool enough to administer that to her, and it saved her life. So it was kind of crazy. But after that, I decided I needed to rethink how we did it. I thought she did follow me in the water a few times to go swimming. In the water, I found out wasn't probably the cleanest for us to be in. So she probably picked up that bladder infection in that scenario. But I figured if we could go back to do that trail in sections, which I'd love to, just connect the bike trails, maybe do the Great American Rail Trail, which is another east to west coast, Trans-American Trail. There's so many now.
Really?
Actually, where my hostel is intersects 2 of them, and the CDT. But I'm going to put her in a bucket, like bicycle, and it has a pop-up, but I have to afford that. It's like $5,000. So once maybe this hostel will earn me that so we can go do that. And the previous owner of the laundromat that I bought, she's always wanted a hostel. She's like, when you go do your Triple Crown, I'll run the hostel and the laundromat for you. I'm like, perfect.
So good.
And I have a huge backyard, and there's a goat farmer like a block away with a whole bunch of goats. So I'm going to try to acclimate her to a little herd. So it's a perfect storm. It's working out.
That's amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How have people been receptive or not like, because if you're on a trail, like for us, we're like, oh, we'll look up a hostel to stay at, we'll go to a hotel. With a goat, you can't necessarily do that. How have businesses, hostels, hotels, what's that like with a goat?
So it was tricky for the grocery stores, but what I ended up doing, luckily COVID kind of made that a little easier, where I could just order on the phone and they'd bring it outside to you. So that kind of was a win. And the hostels and the hotels, you'd be surprised how many. We stayed at a lot of them, and basically what I would do, and if any of them are listening, don't get mad. She's housebroken and everything, and she doesn't chew anything. She's better behaved than most dogs. But to convince people of that have never heard or seen that can be tricky. So I basically, every time I go to a hotel, I'd be like, hey, I've got a goat that works in movies and commercials, and she's really well trained in video games, and she's better trained than most dogs. If she ruins anything, we'll pay for everything, but I guarantee you. So I'd go to the pet-friendly ones. I wouldn't just go to a normal hotel. Right. I'd always seek out at least the pet-friendly ones, and then I'd just sell it. I'd just be like, this is my goat. She's my dear dog. She's better behaved than most dogs. She won't ruin anything. If she does, we'll pay for it. And we never had a problem. We stayed a lot of places, a lot of different hotels. So
that's wonderful.
And then for the restaurants and stuff, I just looked for the ones that were pet friendly on the patio. And if someone wasn't comfortable or didn't invite us or, let us stay, I didn't push it. I never tried to do the emotional support thing. I have family that needed emotional support animals. So I think it's really disturbing how many people abuse that. And so I just will never pull that card. I just figured there's enough places that'll accept us. We'll go to those. And I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable anyway and be somewhere we're not welcome. Why would you want to go, sit at a restaurant or patio where they don't even want you there? So I just always looked at that, and it's worked out great. We've actually been, she's been accepted a lot more than you probably perceive, but she's not actually that big either. She's only about 47 pounds. So she's like a small lab. So it's not like I'm bringing in this huge Boer goat that's like, half the size of a horse or something. So I think that helped a little bit too. And they could see her demeanor. She's really chill.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when does the hostel open?
My hard opening is going to be this coming spring. I might be able to open this winter. I worked out a deal with the previous owner. Basically, she's still living here and running the laundromat while I'm trying to dump as much as I can into the hostel to get it up and running. Because once I start paying the mortgage completely on the place and take over the laundromat, I won't be able to afford to do the remodels that the place needs. So, and she owns a trailer park as well, and she doesn't really have a place to move yet until she fixes up one of those trailers at the trailer park. So she's fixing that up. So we're helping each other basically.
Okay, that's
still
great.
Here. Yeah, and then I've been letting hikers come through, and they can kind of donate if they want to the cause. Like a lot of my subs and stuff have been donating. I have an Amazon wish list and a GoFundMe because I had some electricians in right before I got on, and it's totally illegally wired. Like this place is a hot mess. So we're redoing all of that. I have a lot to do, but I've had some hikers come through and some subs and offer to help build and work on things and donate things. And I got a long ways. By spring, I should definitely be open, but there's a chance for winter for some of the people who get stranded off of I-80 to be able to come snag a bed for the night. I'm not really going to offer any services until I have everything legal and up and, whatever. But for right now, it's like donation. And if you're a friend and you want to come crash and help out and like a work for stay kind of deal.
Right, exactly. I mean, even a better question, how did you find this place?
The universe again.
Oh, okay.
It likes to do that on me. I had got invited to showcase my gypsy wagon at the Colorado Tiny Living Festival, and I'd never done one of those before, and I almost didn't go. And last minute, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. I already committed. I was having car issues, and I was a little tight on money, and I just was like about to bail. I decided to just do it. And Little Leaf, out of the blue, pees in the front of the Jeep, and she never has pee accidents. She never does that. And I'm like literally 3 hours away from where I'm supposed to showcase my whole setup. And so I pull into Rawlins. I'm 100 miles from anything. Before I get to Brighton, Colorado, I'm like 2.5 hours away, and find this laundromat. And I pull in to wash her like little bed area in the front that I built out for her. And I see a sign on the lot that says lot for sale. And I'm thinking there's no way I could afford it or make this happen, but I'm going to ask. And so I asked the lady, and she happened to know who I was. She had followed me on YouTube, and I didn't know this right away. But I was like, oh, okay. She told me the price, and then I just kind of went back to doing my laundry. You know, I don't know, just being curious and inquiring, you know, dreaming, thinking this would be a cool place for a hostel, because I know Rawlins is a hub for the CDT, but there's no community here for the hikers. Like the town really doesn't have a relationship with through hikers. It's really kind of strange. And I didn't realize how little they do. And I don't think it's intentional. I just don't think that they've ever really truly interacted. And this town is literally 100 miles from any other town. So there is a need here for sure.
Yeah.
And I've looked at the two outfitters. They don't carry any gear or the right butane or anything for these hikers. So I was just like, you know, I kind of was daydreaming, and then I was sitting out front waiting for my laundry to dry, and some fans rolled up. They saw the wagon and came up and asked to take a picture, and then she came out, and she was like, I don't want to interrupt, but she goes, I'll let you make payments if you buy it. And she goes, by the way, I watch your YouTube too. And I was like, you better not make payments? And then like all these little light bulbs are going off in my head, and then I was like, well, maybe, and then got my stuff, said my goodbyes, and I told her I'd think about it, and went off to the Colorado event, and met some other nomadic people there, and kind of like him and hawed about it, like, well, what if, or what could I do? And then found out more about the town. And once I left that event, I came back to Rawlins to see what the town was like, and then I was like, see if she was serious about hashing out this deal. And she was totally serious. She just had, you know, she's older, and she's got, like I said, a trailer park, and she had all this. She's trying to run. Obviously, the hostel wasn't part of the laundromat originally. I'm building that, but she had always wanted a hostel to do it. So it was just the perfect storm. So we set up a deal, and here I am. I haven't left.
And when was
That's fantastic.
When did this all occur?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Shit.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just was like bam, bam, bam. And I had dropped off a whole bunch of stuff in Washington because I was repairing my skylight, my little air skylight thing on the gypsy wagon before I went to this event. So I had dropped off most of the stuff I usually live and travel with, just so I would have a cleaner ship to showcase and stuff. And so I don't even have like a lot of my, and I've given all my furniture away. So like here I'm moving to this place, and I'm like, I don't really have anything. I have a cardboard box right now for a nightstand. And I've had friends like donating and fans donating certain things, you know, to help. But most of it's for the business, because I've like wanted to get the bunks and the beds, like, so I could actually get it.
Yeah, so you got 12 beds, right?
I have 12 beds right now, and I have 3 bunks. So I have 6 beds of my 12 that actually have frames. And then I have sheets, and I have 4 comforter sets. So it's just like I'm picking away, trying to build it up. So I'm hoping by next, the electricians just turned off a bunch of electricity so I can bust down 2 walls that I was intimidated by electricity, because they were tanning bedrooms, and it was like 200 watt, like crazy. And I was looking at this, and my dad's taught me quite a bit about electricity and wiring, and I've watched and helped them do a few things in the house and stuff. But this was like, I'm looking at this like, this doesn't look right. And these electricians came in even, and they're like, holy crap. So they just cleared a bunch for me so that now I can actually knock those walls down. And then, yeah, I need to afford a few more bunks, a lot of things. I want to make this place really cool. Like I had a sub that said he's throwing away a claw machine, you know, like the kids' claw machine.
Yes.
I thought, how cool would it be to put like some darn tufts and some hyperlight gear and stuff, and they could play around and have like a game room. I want a popcorn machine and some big beanbag chairs, have a hangout area. I met a guy at the Tiny Living Festival that does hot tubs for a living, and he said he'd donate a hot tub as long as I help promote the sales of them. He does pretty good with those. So I want to make this place like a badass sanctuary for hikers and bikers that come through on the 3 major trails that intersect this little town in the middle of nowhere. And then I want to have like a little bit of a resupply and gear repair, or, you know, like darn tough, you know, all that kind of stuff. Patches, KT tape, you know, the basics that hikers would need, that really, butane, you know, the things that I couldn't even find in town. I'm like, this is a huge hub, and there's none of this. So it's like, I want it to be like a one-stop shop for all the hikers. I want to get a shuttle next year, like just find a little beater van, if anything. So I can go pick them up, bring them in. They can do their laundry in my laundromat. They can get a shower, a bed. They can resupply snack stuff and little stuff, or I can take them to the grocery store with the shuttle. And then just have a cool place for community and hanging out with the backyard and the hot tub and the popcorn machine and all the ideas that I have. There's just like a million of them. I've been collecting things that I wanted in hostels when I stayed. Like, for instance, on the AT, because it rained so much, my shoes were always wet. I just wanted a hostel to have like a boot dryer, and none of them had boot dryers. So the first thing I bought was like 3 boot dryers. So we're gonna have these, and then we're gonna have this. So just from my own experiences, realizing what I would have wanted, to go in, I got an acupuncture mat that you lay down on, and some of the balls and the things that you roll on your muscles. So I'm gonna have a whole area where if someone's dealing with shin splints or cramping, and like, they can work some of that out. I haven't got all those things yet, but that's my vision.
The list. It's on the list.
Yeah, I just want to make it like, and even the bikers will, be able to utilize that. And I don't know a ton about the biking world, but it's not that much different. And the community is pretty tight knit. You're out there living out of a tent, across the country, in the elements. You're gonna want a normal bed and a shower, and do your laundry every now and then. Like, we all need the same things. So, and there's a awesome community kitchen here once I get that all set up and dialed in, but it's already laid out perfect, besides a few walls I need to take down. But it's really exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. That sounds incredible. You went from hiker to trail angel in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, right. Crazy goat lady. There's a few other things in there, a couple other titles, I think, though, actually.
Artist. That sounds amazing, because we've been in God, where was that? What was that hostel tumbles by Thomas Jefferson's house? And
I knew you were gonna say that. Yes, it was right by Rockfish Gap, South Shenandoah.
Okay. And they were just not friendly.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Just bitter and not happy about what they were doing in life.
Yes.
I think every hostel along a major long trail has to have experience on one of the long trails. I just don't think it works without that.
Right.
Because I'm just, one of the things I'm most excited about is just being around like-minded people, other hikers, and being able to just, shoot the shit about the trails and like what's going on. And, I don't know. Maybe I miss poop stories. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I mean, people who have never experienced these long trails just cannot connect on the same level when you've been so basic. Materialistic things and the things that we are so used to in everyday life seem so insufficient and aren't satisfying. You know what I mean? It's amazing how being so basic can be so much more fulfilling than living what we consider normal lives, and there's something that makes you just feel so much more alive. And so being around those people, it just brings that back. It sparks that, and it makes me feel like, yeah, I know that, I get that, you get it too, so and I want to help them, because I know how it is to roll into a place and you're just booked, or all you want to do is get to the store, but you got to walk another how long, and it's this and that, and or being injured. I've been injured and have to stay at a hostel before. I mean, I've done it all. I've been through all those scenarios. So this place is kitty corner to the hospital on top of everything. So not only that and everything, it's literally right across from me is the hospital. So, I mean, I could go pick someone up off the trail, bring them to the hospital, let them do their laundry. So they're not wasting, when we do zeros, you're doing all your errands. So you really don't get any time to rest. And you don't really want to take a double zero, because then you're losing a day or whatever. But the more you can do in one spot will give you more time to chill. So like here, for instance, hikers can come and throw their laundry in and then go lay down on their bed while it washes.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a great idea.
You get a Nero more than I don't know, however you want to look at it. But I just think it'll be cool to have everything in one spot. So
that sounds like an amazing hostel. It's going to be a great place once you get it up and running.
I think so too. I hope so. And I've had a lot of help from fans and stuff so far. I still need a lot more. This place is huge. I actually just found out that it has a whole second floor. I don't even know what I'm going to do with that yet.
Oh, wow.
I haven't even seen it, actually. I'm so overwhelmed already by what I have going. I have not even looked at the top floor. I don't even know what's it. But
that's where the bowling alley will go.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, maybe it'll be just a giant pillow room like Elvis had. I heard Elvis had a pillow room. I'll just fill the whole thing with pillows.
Not to be off topic.
Yeah, we could. Oh, you guys give me an idea. We could do a projection screen and have it a movie room just filled with pillows. It's like, oh, it's the theater upstairs.
That sounds amazing.
Everybody talks about hitting theaters sometimes when we're in towns, you know?
It's
true.
Like,
oh, theater's here too. It's upstairs.
But yeah, a theater's like $50. So if you have the equivalent in your hostel, that would be great.
You know, why not? Why not?
Is that a chicken behind you, by the way? Sorry to go off topic.
So I adopted a few animals or inherited. I don't even know what you want.
That is a chicken.
That's Belina, and she's obsessed with me. She does not leave me alone. She waits at the window for me all day, every day now. And I think she's like 10 or 12 years old. She's an old chicken. And she's obsessed with, she just talks to me. And if I crack the window, she just sits there and talks and follows me around and waits for me. It's hilarious. And there actually are 2 other chickens out there, but she's the only one that does that. She escapes every day to come to the window to wait for me and to talk to me. And her little leaves sit there and stare at each other sometimes. It's quite comical. I don't know. But yeah,
your place sounds amazing. Now. Chickens, goats, movie theaters.
Yeah,
popcorn machine. Oh, that can go upstairs. That's perfect.
Upstairs, yeah. There you go. Put us on the planning committee. We've been talking almost an hour already. We don't want to keep you too much longer, but we did want you to talk about your art a little bit.
My art? Well, that's something I've done since the dawn of my time. I was a pretty lonely kid. I spent a lot of time alone because my parents were young and worked a lot. So I got into it young, and my grandpa, my dad's dad, raised me a lot at the time, and he became basically a huge pillar in my life and made me promise I'd never give it up, and I could never break a promise to him. But I also love my art. It's my therapy, just like trail. And so, yeah, it's always been a staple, and it's there. I do murals. I have them all over the country. I've shipped art all over the country. Actually, I have art in Singapore. I have them in other countries, not murals, but I've sent art all over the world at this point, which is pretty cool. I still don't think I'm known by any means with it, but it has given me the majority of my living since my daughter went off to college, and I didn't have to have real jobs anymore.
That's great. Wow, that's amazing. And then your photographs are gorgeous. What are you using for equipment for your photos?
Oh, I love when people ask me this. So I minored in photography. My grandpa, who I told you raised me and was my world, he was a professional photographer. He shot Kennedy. Wow. And Marilyn Monroe and a few other people.
That's amazing. Wow. Is this the same healer?
No, that was, different side of the family.
Okay.
But he was a big photographer, and he was my best friend. I actually have him tattooed right here, my grandpa Errol. I talk about him a lot on trail and stuff too. He was a photographer, and I wanted to be like him, so I minored in it when I was in college, and I only used my phone. I have fancy Nikons, everything, but I just have gotten to the point where if I can get the composition right with the light and everything is like lined up, I just go for it, and it's amazing. I mean, you can be super critical of your photos in a certain light, and I can be that way, but the majority on trail, I didn't want to carry the extra weight. I'm no Ivy Tat, that's why I poke fun of him. Because I only have one clavicle bone, I couldn't take on extra weight just for that reason. I already had a kind of a battle sometimes with the weight that was normal. Mm-hmm. So long story short, I've always just used my phone for the majority of the things that I'm shooting and photographing, because it's just the most easy thing to have right there on hand. And when you're juggling a goat at the same time, you don't want to drop your nice camera.
No, for sure.
Or whatever. So I have
Apple, Samsung, because they're gorgeous.
Yeah, it has the authentic crack screen here. I did that like day 2, of course, like we all do. I always get the ones that have the memory card, and I think they stopped making them now, actually. So I can put like a 436 gigabyte or megabyte, whatever they are, like huge like memory cards in there, and I use them for my YouTubing and everything. I edit on my phone. That's why my videos aren't that fancy, but I do everything from my phone. Everything.
That's awesome.
While I'm I still, even to this day, like doing the videos for this place, I've been doing everything still from my phone. Old habits die hard. And I have a really nice laptop, and I still do it all from my phone. So I don't know.
Well, whatever phone that company should reach out to you, and you should be their spokesperson.
Yes.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Yes, please. Can I get a non-cracked one? That'd be cool. Yeah.
Well,
No,
gosh.
you can do a lot with them anymore. Some of these phones coming out are better than some of the cameras that we've had for decades. It's incredible.
That's true. That's very true. Well, Kate, yeah, we are at an hour. That's nuts. Well, before we plug all of your socials, do you have a specific story you'd like to share about any of your trails, about any of your journeys with Leaf?
I'll share the most recent because it was fun. Was at the Colorado Tiny Living Festival. We were just chilling there. I was doing kids face painting just to entertain myself. And Brian Shaw, the world's strongest man, rolled up.
Yes, because I was going to ask you about that, but we didn't get to it. So thank you. Carry on.
He rolls up and he's waiting. And I kind of thought I recognized him, but I didn't say anything, at first. And then all these people started coming up to him and asking for his picture. And he was like waiting. And I realized, he's waiting for me. And he wanted to get into my tiny trailer to take a video for his channel. So, and he had his little Eddie doll and everything, and he was looking for a tiny home for him. Well, I think mine was the tiniest home there. So he asked if he could get in it, and he's like 440 pounds. He was at first really scared he was going to snap off my step into the wagon. I was like, screw it. I know a welder right across the way here. I was like, let's see what happens. So I get in there. So he crawled in there, and then he found out about Little Leaf, and he realized she's got a little bit of a reputation. So we did this jokingly. We had him do a pushing war with Little Leaf. So she took on the world's strongest man, which, she also might have a Guinness record now that's pending for hot air balloon ride. So she's gone higher and longer in a hot air balloon than any other goat. And she's also been sailing on a ship from 1812. She did disaster relief at Hurricane Ian. She collected beads in Mardi Gras in New Orleans. We have so many videos. I have like 40 videos still to post of her. But then I got a hostel or a laundromat. I don't know. Maybe it was like a midlife.
A hostel mat.
I just go with it. It's like a goat. Everybody's like, how'd you end up with a goat? I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of went with it. If you don't push back, the universe tends to bring you what you need, just like trail does. It's the way the trail works, and I've just let that flow over into my life. And as soon as you stop pushing back, it's amazing how much just kind of works itself out for you.
Very true.
That's amazing. So real quick, for those listeners that don't know Brian Shaw, he won the 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2016 World's Strongest Man competitions. He was the first man to win the Arnold Strongman Classic.
Oh, was that him? Oh, okay.
Yes. So, he is I think the fourth most decorated strongman in history, and that's awesome that you got to meet him.
Yeah, no, he was in my house and he took on my goat.
And the pictures of him in your tiny house are hilarious because he barely fits in there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff on our Instagram, especially Leaf has her own and I have my own. So if you don't want to see any of mine's everything we do. Hers is just goat.
Oh, perfect. Would you mind plugging them, please?
Yes. So Little Leaf's, the just goat stuff is Little Leaf Goat. And those are underscores for spaces. And mine, which is all of the things, because I'm all over the board. And that's under Kate Cloud Feathers. And those are also underscores for spaces. And then our YouTube channel is really easy. It's just Kate Cloud, because when I started that, I had no idea it was going to go anywhere or that a trail name was a thing. I didn't know anything. So it's just Kate Cloud.
And how about your hostel?
Pardon?
And how about your hostel? What's the name?
My hostel is called The Grateful Goat. But it's not spelled like your normal grateful. It's GREAT apostrophe FUL. So I don't know. I took too many psychology classes. I didn't want the word great, the wrong great, in my title. So plus I just thought it was more fun. Mix it up. So it's the Grateful Goat Hostel. It's in Rawlins, Wyoming. Right now, if you look it up, the address and everything still says the Washboard Laundromat, but I'm going to drop that LLC and just have it all under one business. So it'll be the Grateful Goat Hostel and Laundry. And locals will still be able to come in and do their laundry at the mat if they want. But there's like 2 other laundromats in town. So I'm just kind of pushing more for the hostel than anything.
Awesome.
Amazing.
And then finally, I know you do commission art still, if anyone would like that, is there a separate thing for that, or they just try to get you on Instagram? How does that work?
been contacted every which way for that, but I do have an art website, which is under katecloudart.com. And they can message me through there. All my email and contact information is on there as well. I think you can find it in all my descriptions and in a YouTube video. And then, of course, you can message me on Instagram. I'm not big enough to where I don't see my messages in Instagram.
I
So if you message
appreciate
me on Instagram, I'll respond. I'll see it. So, yeah, commissions I usually get all different ways, but even Facebook. Yeah, all of the things.
All of the
All of the
things.
things.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Kate.
it was so wonderful
Yeah, that
to
was
chat
fun.
with you. So glad to finally meet you. Hooray.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's
Oh,
fun.
definitely.
A lot of stuff we didn't get to, so
Oh, there
we will
was,
have to
yeah.
do this again once you officially open. Would be a good time.
Oh, I know. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
You good, Crank?
I
I'm
do
good.
what?
You good? Okay. Would
Oh.
would you like to do our plugs?
Nope.
Would I like to do your plugs?
Oh no, I was talking to Cranky because he always forgets to do
This
our.
is a running gag between us. I never remember the Instagram.
He never does.
remember
It's great.
Oh,
the
busted.
TikTok. And she always asks me every episode now, and it's a running gag. And I'm like, nope, no, I would not like to do the plugs.
But the thing is, he's the one that posts on
I
all
run
of
them?
ours. He runs them. He just doesn't know the names. It's great.
Yes.
All right,
It's
so
alright.
it's rocks _ keep going, Crank, and _
Roots.
_ pod. That's the Instagram, and the TikTok is rocks _ roots _ podcast. So that's us. Phew.
Okay.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you so
You're
much.
wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we shall talk soon.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. Have,
Have
a good
a good
evening.
night. Bye bye.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.